And we continue with our Great American Panel. So does the issue of class warfare, Frank, you've dealt with it during the Reagan years, does this work? Is this a winner for the Democrats?
Historically, it really is not. What it does do is mobilize the liberal base. This is the 30% of the country that subscribes to The Nation or watches one of your competitors on evening television. But it just drives them crazy, Sean, that at a time when our unemployment rate is now 9.8%, they're demanding tax increases on the most productive citizens.
Well, it's also small business, which is, to me, those are the biggest job creators. Here's what I don't understand. You've been a pretty big supporter of the president. The president said you pass his stimulus plan, unemployment won't go above 8%. He said 2 years. I don't want to hear George Bush, because if I am, my head is going to burst out on television, which would probably make some liberals happy. But explain to me, why no success? We have $3 trillion in debt.
It's not no success.
What's the success?
Kept us out of the Great Depression, and I would counter that the class warfare here is the largest shift of wealth from the middle class to the upper 2% that we've seen in the last 3 decades.
Wait a minute. There's
been a massive shift in wealth. So if you want to talk about class warfare, let's talk about warfare on the middle class.
No, we're talking about an opportunity society and a freedom society, and the bottom 50%, I said this twice
tonight. The hardest working Americans are those who are scrubbing toilets and working 2 to 3 jobs.
Listen,
this idea of
that's my background in my life. I did all of those jobs in construction and in restaurants. And I never
know that it's not meritorious in the sense
the bottom 50% don't pay very much in taxes. On a percentage basis, 50% pays 2.9%. The top 1% pays 40%. What do you want?
They pay 40% of the tax, the total subsidy.
Of the federal income tax, they pay 1% pays nearly 40%.
Everyone knows there are loopholes, which means they're paying
these are IRS numbers. This is reality. The top 10% pays 70% of the bill.
And I don't think anybody can sit here and say that I want to pay more taxes. We have a spending problem, not a revenue problem.
We don't have a revenue problem.
We have a revenue problem and we have a spending problem. And I know you don't want to hear about George W. Bush, but our structural deficit problem is 10 years old. It's not something that came about overnight.
Listen, if you want to criticize George Bush in his last year, where spending went up pretty dramatically, Barack Obama in his first year tripled the deficit that George Bush had. $3 trillion of Obama debt he's accumulated.
Expenditure.
Excuse me, not one time. 1.4 and 1.6 trillion dollars. Those are that's his deficit.
Sharp was George W. Bush.
The recession ended by a textbook definition a year ago. We're still at 9.8% unemployment.
What has he done?
1.5% growth. This is the weakest recovery we have ever had, and it's because the job creators don't know what the tax structure is going to be, what energy costs are going to be, what health care costs are going to be, all because this administration continues to pile on regulations and spending. There's no certainty.
All right, let me ask you
can't make
guys
business
this.
decisions.
John